Welcome to One More Game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. I am your host, Matt Brandenberger, alongside my 1 year older but still beautiful wife.
Merry Christmas.
One More Game
Merry
presented
and
by
happy
Hoosier
birthday
Pickleball.
to
I am
me.
your host.
Kwanzaa,
Yes.
all that.
Kwanzaa, Hanukkah.
Hanukkah.
The date of this
Boxing
release.
Day.
Ooh, Boxing
Boxing
Day.
Day.
Yes.
You want to fight or?
For our British followers. I don't think
I
that's
think it
what
has to do with boxes.
I think it has to do with like packaging things up.
Well,
after
for me,
Christmas?
it's about punching. So.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know what? You do you, Bill.
Yeah,
You do you.
for the Premier League soccer fans out there, it's a huge day. Lots and lots of games on
Ooh.
the 26th. So that's the date of this release. So hope you had a Merry Christmas for those of you that celebrate Christmas. And Abby, I hope you had a wonderful birthday.
I did. I had a wonderful 10th anniversary of my 32nd birthday.
Why 32? That's so awkward.
I don't know. Why did I come up
I
with
thought
that?
you were usually 29.
I don't know.
I know.
Yeah.
It changes
32.
every year.
Okay.
Whatever I feel like at the
Well,
moment.
Well, you still look great. So, what better to talk about? This is our last episode of 2022.
It's exciting. It's been a fun year.
It has. We launched the show in 2022, so always fond memories of this year. But what better to talk about than rule changes for the following year? So this episode is going to be
This
really
is important.
dedicated to that. But let's first talk about the crazy, how this week especially has been one crazy week.
We have another puppy.
Yeah.
She is a delight.
Yes.
She
really is.
She's cute. I will definitely say.
She
There are
is.
some ugly dogs, like they're ugly babies out there.
I know.
And
You're
luckily,
not supposed to say that.
But you
I
can
know.
love your ugly baby. It's
Right.
okay.
But I didn't say which
Right.
ones
Right.
were
Right.
ugly.
Right.
So
and everybody asked me this. Well, did you get a boy dog?
No.
'Cause- No. So 5 daughters, for those of you new to the show.
A wife
A wife, who's
And-
also a girl, and 2 dogs now.
that are girls.
she
that are
plays a girl
girls.
on TV at
Yes,
least
yes.
on YouTube.
So, yeah. So it's life is especially crazy. Lots of little tinkles.
She's doing great.
She actually is doing great. I did walk down the stairs this morning and found a nice little package.
Cute little turds.
When do they not
Nuggets.
become nuggets?
They're little,
Yeah.
because she's little.
Still, if I would have stepped in them, they wouldn't have been
Not be cute.
Not as cute, but no, she's doing great. I honestly was not on board with this. Kind of got coerced into it.
And you love
Coerced, not coerced. Coerced
Yeah.
into
her.
it.
Coerced.
No X in that
Making
word.
up words.
And but I'm thrilled.
You're all in now.
She's pretty darn cute. She has gone through, even in this week, the stages of just like brand new puppy, just wants to snuggle and like just cuddle like a little newborn baby.
Yeah.
And now she's just like
A wild man.
crazy. Yeah. She actually, when I walked down the stairs this morning, as I saw the little turds, she yelped at me. First time I've heard her bark, and it's the cutest little bark.
It really
Almost
was.
as if to claim like, those are mine.
Yeah.
Watch out.
I claim this for Sparta.
Yes.
Oh.
So, yeah, well, let's get into the topic of the day, which is rule changes for 2023. And, Abby, we're just going to go through several of these, kind of talk through them. I think kind of to start off the conversation, though, it's fair to say pickleball still being a fairly new sport and evolving, especially as it becomes more popular at the pro level. Rule changes are necessary. So,
Or just clarifications.
yeah, for sure. Because like in basketball, sports that have been around for a long time, there might be little tweaks to rules, but you don't have major rule changes like you see in pickleball. So let's get into it. What's the first one you want to talk about?
Well, the first one, Matt, I feel hits really close to home for you. And like we're going through like
Oh, I
some-
know where we're going.
You do, yeah. So no more spin
No
surfing.
more
Spinach.
spinach. Yep. I
Are
love
you
spinning
doing okay
the ball.
with this?
I am. I've actually
Ton
been
of grips
surprised.
with it.
So after our last tournament, big tournament, I said I'm not going to do it anymore in rec play. There's no point.
But
so
then
there was.
I actually didn't notice that you did it. We
Oh,
played
that-
together in
yeah.
a
Did
tournament.
you do it the other night when I text you? What are you doing? Did he do it?
I did not.
No.
I have not pulled it out in rec play. That was another. It was a small tournament, a local tournament. We didn't talk about that.
Oh, we didn't.
That
We
was-
won.
That was nice. Woohoo! We
4 or
took
5
gold.
plus.
Yep, we took gold in 4 or 5 plus at the snowball tournament for
At Wildwood.
Wildwood. So Abby was not on her A game. I had to carry us.
That is so true.
It is true.
Oh, I was expecting
Right.
a harsher.
Right.
No,
You're
so
just
true.
no.
So
Take
here's
it.
what happened. I was in bed with a fever and influenza all day Wednesday.
I do remember you saying that. You
Yeah.
texted
so
me.
I was dead.
And
And
even
I
Saturday, you were
I did
still-
recover, but it's like I was just fatigued.
You
and so.
you were loopy because some of our texts, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
and Matt said, to be fair, she's kind of sick.
That's
so-
true.
Right.
That
And
is
so
true.
I needed Matt, and he stepped up. He was very patient with me as I had no idea what I
Yeah.
was doing on the court. I
Team-
forgot everything I
Team
learned.
Brandenburger was full force. So yeah, we were able to pull that out. Didn't play our best, but it was fun to win together.
Yeah.
We have done that a few times, but it had been a little while.
Yeah.
And then,
But anyways, what you were going to say
yes,
was,
about-
I didn't even notice this because I was in a fog,
yeah,
but we were behind, and apparently you whipped out your spin
yeah, it's
serve
just
a
like,
couple times.
screw it, I'm going to spin serve it, and it's still legal up until
Right,
Yeah.
right.
the end
It's
of
not,
Yeah.
this month. But I have not been doing it in rec play.
No.
So all that to say, I'm adjusting, and I do
Yeah.
think like it is forcing me to be a little bit more intentional in the things we talked about before, hitting the serve deep. So I'm a little bit more focused on that instead of spinning it.
Now you can still spin it with your paddle.
Yep, you can by the motion of your paddle, but the rule, just to be clear, is you cannot induce any spin out of your hand. Now,
Correct.
the rule does, state that there's going to be some, and when you toss the ball, it's not like it's going to be a knuckleball that's just no spin whatsoever, but you cannot, impart
yeah.
any spin, I think is what the exact wording says.
So I feel like we need to just talk about this practically. So in a tournament with a ref,
Right.
if the ref sees something that may be a spin serve, he can call for a replay.
Yep.
Right,
Or
a reserve.
a ref actually has the power to call an illegal serve, which would be a fault, and then it
Okay.
would go either to the second server
Okay.
Or
or
back.
side out.
side out, yeah.
Wow.
So
What about what there's no ref? What
if there's
happens
no
then?
ref, then if I'm playing against you, I cannot say, "Oh, I think that was illegal. It's now my serve."
Okay.
I can question it though, which is interesting because there could be some real, head games and kind of some gamesmanship.
People do that. I think people do that with the kitchen line. They'll be like your opponent has said to me, just watch your feet.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
it
like,
puts in your head like, "Oh,
was,
am I?"
well, was I in the kitchen? No.
No, but it
Just-
was really
just
close. Well, I thought maybe you were. Yeah. So
Well, then call it if I'm in the kitchen.
right. Yeah.
Or shut your face if I'm not.
Tell us how
But-
you really feel, Abigail.
Right.
But I mean, somebody could use that.
Absolutely. So that to me, that's a little ambiguous. Where I wonder, hopefully not in rec play, but in a tournament where it's not refed, it's a real. Somebody hits a really nice serve. Somebody technically could say, a replay that serve. I think it looked like you spun it. That sort of thing.
And
then
would they
have
say
to-
that and not return it? Or do you
Well,
play out the point and then say it?
I
Or
think-
Well, you don't play out the point.
No, you can't play out the point.
Okay.
That's not-
But I think technically they would have to call it before
Yeah.
they hit the ball.
okay, so they have to catch it or whatever.
Because when we talk about the scoring, I know that's the new rule with
Okay.
scoring is
That's
it's
another-
before it's returned. But
Okay.
so there's a little bit of just, and it's not just
They'll-
about the spin.
They'll
because
probably have to further clarify this
Right.
in coming years.
it's any sort of illegal serve. So recently, and I'll need to find this video and let's make a note of this to put
Put
this
it
in
in
the
show
show notes. But Tyson and Jay, who are partners, two of the best, Tyson McGuffin and Jay
Dev- it's French.
It's French. Deliviers. I don't know.
I
Something
don't
like
know.
that. Anyways, they are partners. So check this story out. They're partners, but they were playing against each other in singles. And Tyson's serve has always been somewhat borderline illegal. Not the spin piece of it.
He's
but
like
he
more.
really,
He's almost above the waist.
right. And the rule is the waist. And how do you really?
Whose waist?
Yeah. Well, your own waist. Not,
I know.
Not Manute Bull's waist. Not Muggsy Bogue's waist. It's your own waist.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
Well,
Muggsy Bogues, I think,
Right.
would be about the same.
about the same size as Abby.
I'm taller than
You
him.
are taller, yeah.
Right.
you.
But
Spud Webb, maybe.
But it is very,
taller.
it's hard to see that. And
Right.
so anyways, the ref, it was a refed match, and the ref was calling, Jay actually got upset. So back the story up, Tyson's serve was like just killing it, and Jay was getting frustrated at how well Tyson was serving. But he, in his opinion, which I don't necessarily disagree with him, Tyson's serve was borderline illegal, maybe even was illegal. So then Jay intentionally started like almost just to be kind of, he wasn't trying to be funny, he was just kind of trying to make a point, started serving way above his waist. But then the ref was calling for replays. And Tyson was like, that was an illegal serve. And in fact, Jay actually took one that was way above his waist, served it, and it went out, and the ref called a replay. And Tyson's like, how
That
does
went out.
How
It
does
went
that make
out,
any
yeah,
sense?
yeah,
It was out, whether or not it was.
Right.
And the ref was like, actually, we've had this ref before. When you see the video, it's so funny. And he's like very matter of fact. He's like, that it was the motion of the serve was illegal, or I thought might be illegal, so he's going to replay. It doesn't matter where the ball landed. And Tyson's like, this is the goofiest rule. So
Oh my word.
So I don't
That's
know if there'll
crazy.
need to be some further clarification in that. But anyways, we've probably exhausted that topic.
That was
but,
a long
right.
talk about that.
We're gonna.
Well, he's touchy though. I mean, he likes
Right.
his spin serve, so
Right.
give him his time.
Yeah, that's.
We'll talk about it again at home tonight, baby.
Okay, Matt. Yeah,
that's a big one. Yeah, stop spinning the ball.
Yeah.
So. all right.
That's probably the biggest one.
Oh, for sure.
The
And
rest of them are,
and it's been talked about even
Yeah.
when the new rules came out last year. There were a lot of people thinking the spin serve might get outlawed for 2022, and then when it wasn't,
well, the
more
the
and more.
chainsaw did.
yeah, chainsaw. So it kind of was a regression,
Yeah.
and now, and the whole idea of it, I don't just. I really am kind of torn on this subject because I don't like their explanation that says, on one hand, I agree with this piece of it, that the whole idea of the serve is to just get the point started.
Mm-hmm.
It was never meant to be like a big part of the game. And they say things, the language that I don't like says only a certain number of people have mastered, this part of it. And so it gives an unfair advantage to them. And I want to say, that's crap. Only a certain number of people have mastered a killer forehand. Do we
Right.
outlaw forehands then? too?
Exactly. Or returning
Yeah.
anything.
Here's another thing, though, that I actually agree with, because I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Most players cannot truly master an effective spin serve. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
that's crap. But this was effective spin serves may require more court space to allow a receiver to react.
that
And I
is-
do understand there are courts we've played
Absolutely.
on that are tight, and it is frustrating. In
Right.
fact, it happened when we were in California. We were rec playing with this guy who had a spin serve, and it like pushed me into
Into the fence.
what they
Yeah.
call like this California fence where they don't come to a point, they like cut it off.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is crap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that piece I do agree
I
with.
understand that.
Yeah, for sure. I agree too.
I just wonder if there's a way to do it differently where you would have, certain rules for. I just feel like at the highest level,
Yeah.
if somebody is taking
There's room.
that,
There's room
room.
there.
I feel bad for a guy like Zane Navratil, who was the one that kind of was the master of the spin serve.
Yeah.
And he perfected it.
Yeah.
So why are you penalizing him?
Right.
And I think it is somewhat political because some of the others who are more purists were against it, and so they kind of won out. But anyways,
Yeah. So
enough about the spin serve. What other rules, Abby?
So you can't wear clothes that match the color of the ball. That was always kind of an etiquette thing, but now
Yeah.
it's like the ref or your opponents can say you need to change your shirt
Yeah.
if it's inappropriate or matches.
I do think it's funny when you see somebody show up and they got like bright yellow, like head to toe.
Right.
Now, I do wonder, I have one of my favorite shirts to wear is an Arsenal. I'm a big soccer fan. And I have an Arsenal away jersey that has like some just fluorescent accents on it. Is that the right word? I've never used that before with my clothing. I'm such a fashion guru.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if I wore that in a tournament, if somebody would say, that's illegal
Yeah.
now. So
Just
it's
bring
kind of,
another shirt with you.
yeah.
right?
yeah, I always do. But
Yeah.
that's kind of at the discretion of the ref
Yeah.
and at the discretion of the other players.
Yeah.
So
Another thing is equipment timeouts. So
kind of
you-
goes along with that,
yeah,
right?
you don't have to call a timeout if your paddle breaks, if your shoe, whatever.
If you have to change your shirt.
Change your shirt, change your shoes, put a hat on, whatever. You don't have to.
Yeah, it used to be that you have to burn one of your timeouts,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes, like in the tournament we just played in, it was 1 game to 15, and you only had 1 timeout.
Yeah.
You want to burn it to put a hat on.
Yeah, you don't
Right.
want
Or
to.
to take it off.
Or to change
Yeah.
your shoes, your shoelace breaks or whatever.
yeah.
And
So,
Yeah,
That's
that's
good.
not fair.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there is, and I've used this before. You can always get a hydration break. So if you're thirsty, a lot of times my mouth gets really dry when I
Yeah.
play. You can
You do that a lot,
You can
yeah.
take a water. You can go grab water without using a timeout as
Yeah.
well. So, it's probably just a
Yeah.
further clarification on that as well.
I think this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
So if the wrong score is called, in 2022, if the wrong score was called, you must wait until the end of the rally to draw attention to it.
Yeah.
Stopping play because of a wrong score called would have resulted in a fault.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't know that.
You never know what the score is.
I don't even
anyways.
know what the score is. It could be anything. It
Right.
could be any number.
Any numbers.
In 2023, you may now stop play until the return of serve. So don't return it.
Right. So
Right.
if you think somebody calls the wrong score, you can say, wait. Like if they call, 1, 1, 2, 1,
yeah, whatever.
then you say, and then they serve it.
You can say,
before
hold on,
you hit it, you can say, wait. I think
that's
it's
not right. Yeah.
But
So
risky.
Yep.
Why is that risky?
Because if you did call the score correctly, they stopped you incorrectly. That is a fault, and it's either switch servers or side out now.
Right. It'd
We
be a
had-
fault. It'd be a fault then. So you better be right. You better
Yeah.
be darn sure if you're going to stop the point. So
So we actually had that happen to us
Oh, did
in
you?
our tournament on Saturday. I called the score. My opponent, who is a good friend of mine, says, "You called the score wrong," and I said, "No, I called whatever the score was," and he was like, "Oh, like he heard wrong." So
Oh, see, that's
technically,
different.
but see, I don't know.
technically though, that
that's
should have been
tough.
a point for us.
Why? Because they misheard it. I mean, that's to me, that's
Yeah, but
not under that same rule.
Oh,
it's
well-
not that they.
Wow,
it's not that they had it wrong. They heard it
If
wrong.
you stop play and it turns out it was the correct score, it's a fault on you, and your opponent will win the rally,
That's
and
it.
therefore
That's-
the point.
I still don't know though, because then I could say 1, 3, 2, and then you could stop and say, wait, no, I think it's 1, 2, 2, and then I say, well, that's what I said. Then you know what I'm saying? That's just too
Well,
ambiguous. That's
you
again
could,
what I'm
but-
saying. Like where do you draw
Well, sure.
that line?
It's then in pickleball. There's tons of ways you could cheat,
Right.
But that's different though.
So
if
in a
she truly
tournament-
said 1, 3, 2, and he said, "Hey, it's not 1, 4, 2," and you said, "No, I said 1, 3, 2,"
That's
and
my
everyone
point.
else agrees,
Right.
then that's on them that they made a mistake.
Right.
And yeah, I'm with
That
Abby
is
on
my
that.
point.
Right, but I'm just saying if both teams are disagreeing with what was actually said. Speaking to somebody who doesn't hear real well sometimes,
What?
I just think that's gonna.
I was gonna say that.
I
Well,
think
beat
that's
you to
just
it.
going to be.
So now people know I'm funnier than
yeah,
you. Hmm.
yeah. Hopefully though, to your point, hopefully
mean,
there's some grace in that. But I'm
Yeah.
just telling you, during some tournaments, that could become a little bit of an issue
Yeah.
as well.
Any
so.
game that has the word pickle in it, you can't take it that serious at the
Right.
end of the day. Come on, people.
Right. Pickle
Like,
ball.
Fair point.
That's all I'm
It's-
saying.
yeah, I totally agree.
All right. Well, let's do
Okay.
this. I want to take a quick break. We do have a few more rule changes that we want to get to, and we'll be back right after this.
Hey, come on, people.
Right. Pickle
Like fair.
ball.
Fair point.
That's all. I'm
It's-
saying.
yeah. I totally agree.
All right. Well, let's do
Okay.
this. I want to take a quick break. We do have a few more rule changes that we want to get to. All right, and we're back. Welcome back to one more game presented by Hoosier Pickleball. Always a big thanks to our sponsors. So, Abby, we are talking through rule changes, and we've hit most of the major ones. So there's just kind of a few maybe rapid fire ones we want to kind of talk about as well.
Yeah.
What's the next one?
Yeah, the next one is whose fault is it when the player is hit by a ball? It's the player who got hit.
Yeah.
That's a change.
No, I think it just kind of
See,
cleaned it up.
some of
Like
these are
everybody
s-
knew that, so
Right.
whatever. Move
Some
on.
of these are just like the wording was a little ambiguous,
Yeah.
but it's,
Okay,
it's
so they're
obvious.
announcing the full-
Everybody knows.
All right.
So yeah, move.
Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
What else you got?
You can now ask, "Am I good?"
Which is
instead of-
interesting because in Pictona, I had at least 1 or 2 refs that were telling us this. So they were kind of implementing some of these new rule changes before. Another one is they now call them ends instead of sides. So when you're doing the coin flip at the beginning, which end do you want? Because we said, we'll take this side, and some of the really by the book rules
Or like,
refs are like, well, it's actually called an end now. Okay, great.
Thanks, John.
It's an end.
Thanks, John.
John. My
Well,
middle name's John.
but listen, let's go back to the
Right.
servant side.
Yeah.
Because I stack, and for the most part, I know where I'm supposed to be. But there's always the moment when you're like, "Oh, what's the score?"
Right. This is the whole
And
am I good?
So am I good? Am I
Yep.
the correct server? Because I have at Beer City, we got called for wrong server. And so then I guess here's my question. So I'm on, my partner and I know my opponents, something screwed up. They're either wrong side, wrong server. We don't have a ref.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
Right.
Do they serve it and we catch it? Do we correct it?
Before?
This is like an ethics question.
I know.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion it depends. I mean, if
It's
it's
a
a
competitive tournament.
if it's a competitive tournament,
I will let them serve it, but then do I
Yeah.
catch it or do we rally it out?
No, after they serve it, you say,
You catch it and you say wrong side or
yeah,
whatever.
and
Here's
I want
what
the point or
my-
the
I mean,
side out.
if
Yeah.
you're trying to win and
Mm-hmm.
you're being smart about it, you wouldn't stop it, because if you are wrong, then you're going to lose that point. I would play it out and then say, I think you served from the wrong side, if that's the case.
And then they lose that point. Like then they
Yeah.
lose that.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
yeah.
It's
But
good to know.
Because if they were the second server there, that's big time.
Yeah.
Now
Right.
it goes
They
side
lose
out.
that point then and it goes to side out.
But again, in depending who the opponent is and how competitive it is.
Yeah, if it's your best friend at
most-
the Y, it's
most
not
of
a
the
big
time.
deal.
Yeah, but I have
I
seen.
guess I'm just picturing more a PPA event
Sure.
without a ref.
Yeah.
Like
no.
I will call that all day.
Which,
Yeah.
first of all, I don't
Anywhere
like
else
the
I
idea
won't.
of a PPA event without a ref. Just saying out loud.
Well, those
Just
first
say
those
that.
first few games you don't have a ref. They're
Well,
only.
I don't like that. So there.
I agree
Yeah.
with that. Well, Adam doesn't like it, guys.
Yeah, so now you know how I feel about that. You can go
Yeah.
to sleep at night.
Yeah, and even I would just say, typically in rec play, you're gonna not do something like that. But also I would say, don't be afraid if you are playing in a tournament and you don't have a ref, and you can't ask the ref, am I good? It is fair to ask your opponents. Do you agree with where I'm at? It's 3-4-2. I should be serving here to you, right? And then at least if you are wrong, I think you have, some ground to stand on to say, well, we agreed to this before the point, so at least maybe we should replay it instead of us losing the point. So communication, not only with your partner, but
Yeah.
with your opponents, can be
Yeah.
important as well.
Yeah. So the next one is it just corrected some ambiguous wording, changing
Yeah.
something about hitting a ball first lands out of bounds. Now it's a player hitting a ball that subsequently. So they changed first to subsequently. I don't, blah, blah, blah.
And that's
how I feel
basically
about
that's
that.
basically just talking about, you don't have to call it before. You can't call it before the ball hits, but if a ball hits out of bounds and then you hit it, that's still okay.
Right.
You just can't have the opponent, continue the rally.
Yeah.
So, that'll happen a lot of times on the back line. Somebody will hit it, it's real deep, and you're going to play it in case it's in. You hit it and you call out after you've hit it because, you saw that it was out, but your motion was still started.
Right.
So just kind of some of that
Yeah.
stuff, just a lot
Further
of
clarification.
a lot of clarification in the rule book, trying to make it a little bit easier.
You should call out calls promptly.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. I mean, that was just more of a clarification.
Yeah,
That was
shouldn't-
always the rule.
Sometimes there is process. I've heard you say this before. You're like, sometimes my brain takes a minute to say
Like, what did I just see?
Actually, in all honesty, when I think of this rule, I think of your championship point.
I know.
Because it was like the end of the game and it was deep, and it was almost like something deep inside of you was like, I can't
I
end the
didn't
game like this,
want
but
to.
you saw it was out. And so it was a good, second before that ball hit out, and Abby's like, out. It was out. Like kind of like the
And I
excitement
felt
of,
awful and
Right.
awesome. Like
Yeah.
I just won gold, but I was like,
right. It's not the way you
I
necessarily
don't want to be the one to make that call. I
Right.
wanted Josh to make that call.
right. And you want to win on like some slam that you did where
Yeah.
they can't return.
Not on the fault of
Not-
theirs.
yeah. But it is what it is, and it's the right
And
call,
it was an
so.
end line.
Right.
And so like
And it
the
was-
ref's not going to be able to overturn that.
Right.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
it was clearly out.
Right.
Other people
We've
said
established
after the
that. You
game it
don't
was
have to
clearly
justify
out.
it.
But I felt awful.
Right.
So
right.
anyways.
Any of these others worth commenting on?
You should call faults on yourself. If you
Okay.
see yourself in the kitchen, you should do that.
Very obvious. Yeah. Be an honest person.
Be an honest person. So there's additional language allowing for a ball change if it's squishy.
Oh, I do like
It
that.
doesn't just have to be broken or cracked. It can be squishy.
So a lot of times in the heat when we play,
Mm-hmm.
the Franklin X, which is probably the most common tournament ball that we play with, will get
Squishy.
a little squishy,
Kinda
a
lopsided.
little
You can-
spongy. Yeah, so you can call for a ball change. It doesn't just have to be.
That's
cracked.
nice, yeah.
So, yeah.
That's nice.
I don't think anybody before.
And most people don't care.
Right. Yeah.
Right. You
I've heard
change a ball.
people say, "Well, this one's like oblong or kind of misshaped. Like we're gonna."
Sure, let's change it.
Yeah, exactly. All right,
So that was it.
that's it.
Those are all the rule changes. So
In an upcoming episode, and so if you want to leave some comments or feedback, we do want to talk about what other rule changes would you like to see,
Ooh.
or maybe some change backs that you would like to see. So all of my fellow spin servers out there may want to see that change back. Just kidding.
I'm gonna have to think about what rules I want changed.
Right, but that can be an episode here
Yeah.
coming up in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
I want to wear neon green if I choose to.
Right, exactly.
That's my.
I can wear
Absolutely.
whatever color I want. All All
The
right,
ball
well-
should have to change, not me.
Right. We have played with pink balls.
We have played with pink.
At the Vera Bradley. They
Those
play
are
with
kind of hard to see
bright-
just because you're not
bright
used
pink.
to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So Abby, let's end with something you love. What's something you're loving this holiday season?
Oh, my puppy.
I knew you were going to say that. You kind of stole mine, actually.
I know.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. Like that's a
She's
big
so
thing.
cute.
That's a big thing in the
Yeah.
household.
Yeah, I will say this is my funny story from this morning. So I get up early. I take the dog out, and I take both dogs out, and our older
Not good
dog,
enough because she came in and pooped on the floor.
She did. Well, listen,
Turd nugget.
she is just a spaz, so she can't focus.
Right.
So Tiger's outside.
Oh, like
our,
anyone else in the family?
our
Where'd she get
previous
that from?
dog is peeing, squatting, peeing, and Coco just full force just trucks her right.
What?
That is
I
awesome.
was laughing so hard.
What if that happened to humans?
Right.
Like
right. Like,
you're at
hey,
you're
bro.
at the Coliseum.
Like
you're
Adam
watching
just trucks Matt at the urinal.
You're at the urinal.
well, there it's a lot of risk because some of that ends up on me.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why it probably doesn't
Yeah.
happen, to be honest.
Right.
If we're honest with ourselves.
But that's the only reason.
Yeah. That's
Because you could get peed on.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
Otherwise.
100%.
Otherwise, you would totally
Well,
tackle
I would
people.
do it because then it could. What if it just 100% would end up on him? That's worth it.
I mean, I feel like in college we used to do that to each other. Somebody'd be at the urinal and you'd kind of, no, not go up and truck
But
them, but you'd
nudge
kind of
'em.
like, nudge them or kind
And
of.
so they kind of like, oh God,
yeah,
you know.
or if they have like a hoodie on, you'd just pull their hood
It's
back.
more
and-
fun to get the reaction out of them.
All right.
Or the best is turn out the lights when you know it's a place that gets pitch black.
Oh, yeah.
So fun.
Girls don't do this, guys.
Yeah, that, I mean,
It's not something girls do.
we're kind of getting into the weeds, but that does
Yep,
remind
a
me.
bit into the weeds.
At my work, that happens. So anytime you're like in the bathroom, especially if you're in a stall and somebody comes in,
Yeah.
because it's kind of etiquette to turn the lights off afterwards, you like kind of make a lot of noise to make sure like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
hey, yeah, like shuffle the.
Got a
yeah.
big one here.
Right.
Like
Oh, yeah.
Oh my word.
A little cough or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, it's just a tip for you out there.
we're keeping people locked in.
Right,
Like
for sure.
sometimes at the end of episodes, people just kind of
I
tune
think
out.
they've turned it off. I think it's already turned off.
No, this is
I
this
think
is
they're locked in.
this is the good stuff.
Women are laughing and guys are concurring.
Right.
That's what's
for
happening
sure.
right now.
Like, yeah, bro, we get this.
Yeah, yeah.
Thing I'm loving. I was gonna say the dog as well.
You can say me.
That's
It's okay.
fair.
I can say.
You can say me.
Oh,
I
yeah,
can say
on-
it. I'll
after
just
the
say this
birthday.
time of year. I do
Because it's my
love-
birthday.
It's Abby's birthday. It's Jesus' birthday. It's
Man,
just
it's good.
it's
The
just
Jews,
all the things
the
I love.
Maccabees.
Yes. Are you referring to Hanukkah?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's what they're celebrating.
Yeah. Okay. So all of it, we're just so thankful.
It's a
We've
good
got a
time
lot
of
to be
year.
thankful
We do.
for sure. It's been a good year, and
Oh, one more thing.
oh.
The huge snowstorm that's coming.
or
in
already
air
came,
quotes.
depending when you're listening.
It's either going to be an inch of rain
Right.
or 42 inches of snow. We have no
or
idea.
78. They
Right.
said like anywhere from 0 to 78. Wow, sign me up for this job
Right.
where I
Right.
get to say there's either 0 or 78
And I still
inches.
get paid.
Yeah.
And, yeah, and I get like what?
And does anybody else feel like, you guys, it's Indiana. We get snow.
Right, yeah.
Is this
it's
shocking
not-
to anybody?
It's not that big a deal.
No.
What? Yeah. Anyway,
Just go get your bread and milk
Just-
and eggs. Your
Yep.
French toast ingredients.
that's so funny. On another show,
Mm.
a guy in Alabama that I'm doing a podcast with said the same thing. What is the deal with bread and milk? And then you say it too.
Yeah.
And eggs. You have to make French toast.
Everybody's making French toast during a snowstorm.
Well,
Evidently.
not people listening to this because they tuned out 4 minutes ago.
Right.
Apparently,
They're over it.
but all right.
All right. All right. Well,
Okay.
thanks again for joining us. We will see you next year.
Oh, okay.
I
See
hate
that
that
guy. Oh God.
All right. See ya. Thanks again for joining us. We will see you next year.
Oh, okay.
I hate that joke. Thanks again for joining us. We will see you next year.